All right, guys. Time for a rant. Yesterday, the former Vice President and current occupier of the White House held a press conference and announced new measures that he was taking along with the Department of Justice to combat gun violence. There's some things that we need to set the record straight on. First off, neither the President nor the Department of Justice nor any entity under the Department of Justice gets to set and create law and establish penalties for breaking law. That is solely reserved for Congress and Congress alone, which is why we elect people to serve in Congress on our behalf, because they are voting on and creating laws and penalties for breaking those laws that will affect us. The President doesn't get that power and authority as one man. Government agencies don't get that authority. I don't know about you, but I haven't voted for anybody that's at the head of any government agency within the Department of Justice. Not one. So them creating penalties and basically making law, and that's putting it in simple terms, yes, but that's the crux of the matter when you boil it all down, is unconstitutional. And I'd like to know why the Congress and Senate of the United States is not throwing an absolute hissy fit and putting a stop to it as their congressional power is being usurped. This isn't the first time it's happened. How many times are you going to let this happen, Congress? How many times are our elected congressional representatives going to sit by and let this happen? I'd like an answer to that. Secondly, well, I shouldn't even say secondly, because I don't know how many points we're going to have in this list, because it's a long freaking list. The phrase was repeatedly used of gun violence epidemic. That's a straight up 100% bold-faced lie that was just repeated to your face live by, I don't want to even say it, but the president, the person occupying the presidential office. Guns do not commit violence. Cars do not drive drunk. Knives do not cut things. Baseball bats do not hit baseballs. The only thing that makes anything happen is people. There is not a gun violence epidemic in this country. I've got loaded guns within mere feet of me right now, and not one of them is doing a thing. I've been waiting for years and they won't do anything. Once again, terminology and a narrative is being used and set that's a straight up fabrication and a bold-faced lie meant to scare people, uninformed people, or people who are going along with the plan. The bigger problem, or maybe it's not a bigger problem, maybe it's an equally big problem, and some of you might not like this, and I make no apologies for it. Why do people continue to feed into the narrative that the enemies of the Constitution within this country are establishing, instead of fighting the narrative? They don't go against it and fight it and try to correct it. They go along with it and strengthen it. What am I talking about? Every time one of you really, really big gun channels uses the word sport and hobby in relation to firearms ownership, you're playing into their narrative. You're using their words and giving them ammunition. It's why we've got things like the sporting clause in the Gun Control Act. Stop using those words and going along with that narrative. You guys with the big channels, y'all have got huge reaches. Y'all legit have the ability to affect the narrative far more than I do. I have nowhere near the reach that other people do. Nowhere near it, not even a drop. but people play into it. I've done multiple videos talking about the Second Amendment. Why will all the big gun channels on YouTube, gear channels on YouTube, etc., not come out and establish what the Second Amendment is and what it's meant for? In case anybody's missed my other videos on it, the Second Amendment, United States, is to keep the people themselves individually armed so that no one, and especially the government, can attempt to deprive them of their life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness, or that of anyone they care about. That's what the Second Amendment's about. It ain't about deer hunting, just like was said again yesterday. It has nothing to do with hunting, has nothing to do with sports, has nothing to do with any of those things. It's about fighting physically and doing harm to those who would attempt to harm us or deprive us of our rights. The very last line in the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed. That is a very clear-cut statement, not open to interpretation. It needs no interpretation. There is no interpretation. It means exactly what it says. Nowhere in the Second Amendment did the founders put anything about hunting and sports and hobbies. Nowhere. Why will you big channels not come out and make a stand? Why will y'all not say, this is what the Second Amendment is about, this is what it's for, this is why we need to be fighting for it, this is why we need to change the narrative. We need to take that ability for them to dictate what people think about it away from them and get the truth out there and get it harder for them to use those terms without people calling them out on it as the liars and frauds that they are. Now I know if some of you big guys, if y'all do that, there's a strong chance it might affect your subscriber numbers, it might affect your ability to have companies sponsor you and do business with you and bottom line make money. But real quick, y'all are going to have to start making a decision of what's more important to you. Making the dollar, which I'm all about, or protecting and defending our collective rights, which I'm even more about. Make no mistake, this isn't a don't make money rant. If you can get rich doing it, then I wish you the best of success. I hope you do. But at some point you got to decide what's more important. That or your actual legit literal freedom and rights and those of all of us. Why will none of the big channels come out and clearly, don't beat around the bush, clearly state what the Second Amendment is about and what it's for and what gun ownership is all about? Do we get to enjoy them? Of course we do. That's a side benefit. That's not the focus and the real meaning. We could travel back in time and ask any single person that fought in the Revolutionary War what having that gun was about. I bet you wouldn't find a single person that would say it had anything to do with hunting. Do I sound a little ticked? Yeah, I do, because I am. Every time you turn around, they're chipping away, and nothing gets done. Republicans in Congress, y'all need to grow a set. Y'all seriously need to grow a set. Because, quite honestly, right now, I'm not seeing any reason to keep voting for Republicans, because you're not doing much of anything different than what anybody else of any other party's doing. You're not stopping them from taking away our rights. You talk a good talk, but when it's time to get on the field and play the game, y'all want to sit on the sidelines. Yeah, I know, it's not that simple, it's not that easy. Well, it sure seems to be simple and easy enough for the other side that wants to take it away. They don't seem to have much problem doing it. Their only problem is they're just not getting it done quite as fast as they want to. Because every once in a while somebody like me stands up and yells from the rooftops and says, stop. So big gun channels, y'all going to step up? Congress, you going to step up? All you big lobbying organizations, y'all going to step up? I know there are some that have been doing some good stuff, but they're going to have to step it up even more. Our rights are being taken away illegally and unconstitutionally. It's as clear as day that the things that are being done, the Constitution expressly prohibits. But it's being done with no repercussion. No repercussion at all. I'll even make a bolder statement. I'm not advocating this per se. I'm not saying anybody no, we're not even going to go there. No, I ain't even going to say that. A, it won't make a difference, and B, all it'll do is get misconstrued and turned around, so never mind. Strike that, reverse it, rewind. This is a real thing, guys. And if you don't see how important what happened yesterday was, I don't know what to tell you. People should be absolutely livid this morning. Like tar and feathering livid. But other than a few people just, well, you know, this is pretty bad, I don't see a whole lot being said about it. So there's my pointless rant. I know it's not going to get anywhere because I know the big channels ain't even going to see this. They don't watch. I'm too small and insignificant. I'm just some dumb guy behind the camera. But for all of you watching, think real hard about who you give your support to. Because there's a lot of, just like in the firearms industry, and I can tell you this from working in it, there's a lot of companies in the firearms industry that do not believe in the Second Amendment. They do not believe in your rights. They do not support it. They're just happy to take your money. They love getting that paycheck and selling you whatever it is they're selling you. They're not supporters. It's the same with all you big fancy gun channels. There's more guys on here that are entertainers that put out cool, flashy, fancy videos for your enjoyment, pleasure, and edification, and for you to drool over and worship. But they don't really and truly support the Second Amendment like you do. They just like that ad revenue. They just like the clicks. They like the support. They like the fame. If I'm wrong, speak up and say so. Put it out there. Correct me. I would welcome it. Y'all need to pay attention. We are going in a really bad direction, and every chip that gets chipped and not replaced and repaired is just one little step further down that road. Incrementalism at its finest. We need to start figuring out a way to fight this and change it and combat it before there's no other way to fight it or combat it. Running out of options and running out of time. Maybe I'm the only one that cares. I'll shut up and go back to drinking my coffee. Y'all carry on.